to our reporter Inzamam Rashid, who is standing by overlooking the Strait of Hormuz in Dibba in the UAE. Good to see you, Inzamam. First, I want to ask you about those Iranian threats that were made against UAE ports yesterday. Do you have any updates? Have any of those ports been attacked?
Well, it was a stark warning that came from the Iranian military yesterday, specifically telling not just the UAE as a whole, but its residents to evacuate areas like ports, like docks, and also US military sites across the UAE, specifically telling people to leave those areas because missiles and drones were incoming. Overnight, we have seen a number of threatened attacks towards the UAE. We saw that the Ruwais oil refinery in Abu Dhabi was targeted. The Al Dhafra airbase was also targeted, but it seems that the UAE missile defense systems have kicked in and ensured that there hasn't been any attacks on the ground or any destruction on the ground. But like I said, it was a very stark warning that came from Iran yesterday, one that actually, I think, rocked the UAE because they were unhappy about how Iran had singled out the UAE from the rest of the Gulf, suggesting that those attacks were coming. We saw in the early hours of yesterday a port in Fujairah, one of the largest ports in the world, was targeted by the Iranian military. On two occasions, there were two drone attacks to that port just a few kilometers south of where I am currently on the entrance of the Strait of Hormuz. And that's a very strategic port there because whilst the Strait of Hormuz remains closed, and we know around 20% of the world's oil usually passes through here, 20 million barrels a day, that specific port has been doing a lot of the heavy lifting. It bypasses the Strait of Hormuz. And so all the production, all the storage that goes on there has been incredibly important over the last couple of weeks. But after that huge attack yesterday, any production and any operations there have actually stalled. And still today, we can see smoke billowing out of a couple of fuel tankers which were targeted. But in terms of the UAE response, well, they've, like I said, been pretty angry over the last 24 hours for Iran singling out the UAE. We heard directly from the UAE president's diplomatic advisor, Anwar Gargash, and he said that there is no such UAE aggression on Iran and that the Iranian policy is confused, that their arm is misdirected and it's lost its compass. He also said that the UAE continues to prioritize reason and logic, maintaining restraint and seeking an exit for Iran in the region. I think that's a denial that there has been any UAE involvement on attacking Iran, not necessarily ruling out that perhaps the US have used bases in the country and the wider Gulf to actually target Iran, particularly that attack on Kaj Island, which we know has caused a lot of anger inside Iran and retaliation to the UAE as a result. I think tonight or today and last night in particular, the UAE was feeling that there was a lot of psychological warfare targeted at the UAE by Iran by sending this message, sending this rhetoric. But Iran has followed up. They have targeted some specific sites, and it looks like that targeting could continue throughout the day today and into the evening. It's often in the evening where we have seen Iran continue their attack towards the UAE. And I think you've also got to remember as well that out of all of the Gulf countries, it has been the UAE that has been specifically targeted disproportionately by Iran. They've received over 2,000 missiles and drones, and they have also struck ports like Jebel Ali port, also the Al Ruwais refinery up in Abu Dhabi, and of course some of the busiest airports in the world from Abu Dhabi to Dubai airport. So the UAE is on high alert. They are anticipating further strikes from Iran, and I think there is a real sense of anger within the UAE government that Iran is singling them out.
Okay, thank you so much for your reporting. Inzamam Rashid reporting that from Dibba in the UAE.